Evidence of a covert tunnel is found by Gary. Could the numerous unresolved questions be resolved by this hidden tunnel? To learn more, keep watching a current episode of The Curse of Oak Island. The team, which also consists of archaeologist Dr. Aaron Taylor and Miriam Emerald, geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner, and metal detector expert Gary Drayton, examine stone walkways in a potential cellar feature close to the swamp's eastern border. During their investigation, Gary and David uncover a signal embedded in a wall, which eventually results in the finding of a huge caster wheel hidden beneath. Gary speculates that this wheel would have been used on Oak Island during a tunneling project, adding to the other finds of tunneling equipment on the island. Gary finds evidence of a hidden tunnel, which raises the question of whose responsibility it was to place the item there in the first place and who was meant to find it afterward. The original depositors or later searchers. The team plans to carry out more investigation into the caster wheel in light of this discovery. In the vicinity of the marsh's eastern edge, metal detectorist Gary Drayton and the rest of the team are searching for stone pathways and a possible underground structure. Along with Dr. Aaron Taylor and Miriam Emerald, the team also includes Dr. Ian Spooner and other archaeologists. In the midst of their excavation, Gary and David find a signal in a wall, so they ask Aaron to assist them in extracting it. On Oak Island, Gary thinks there may have been a tunneling operation, and they discover a big caster wheel that may have been used in such an operation. It is unclear whether this find was left by depositors or searchers, as it adds to the body of evidence of earlier tunneling tools discovered on the island. The group wants to store this discovery away for later investigation because it has caught their attention. Treasure hunter Gary Drayton used a metal detector and discovered not one but two distinct treasures in a general area of Oak Island shoreline. In his first discovery, Drayton and his team found a button from an officer's uniform from the 17th century, although it is unknown to which branch of the armed forces it may have belonged. The military, on the other hand, might have buried some of the island's secrets, according to some evidence. Drayton and his colleagues made a second discovery that day. Not too far away in a woodland, they found a tiny coin buried in the ground that they suspected to be another Maave from the 17th century, similar to one found at the end of the previous season. However, compared to the other coins, this one appeared to be significantly smaller, likely 2 Mars instead of 8. Even though they are small, these astonishing finds could point to a much bigger treasure hidden on Oak Island. Gary Drayton made a second double discovery while using his metal detector to search for wealth near Oak Island shoreline. This time, Drayton and his team, along with Rick Laganina, the team leader from Oak Island, uncovered 2 King Charles II Britannia coins from the 17th century buried beneath the rocks and pyrite scattered along the shore. One of the coins found has the year 1771 clearly printed on its surface, supporting the idea that the money is older than a few hundred years. These 17th century coins, where did they originate? Could they have been dropped accidentally by someone searching for buried treasure in a hurry? Or, and this is where optimism arises, could they have been left there by a wealthy group on Oak Island looking to conceal its own loot? The Oak Island crew will without a doubt have to do more investigation. Generally speaking, the history of treasure hunting on Oak Island can be traced back to the time the Money Pit was first dug. The pit, commonly known as the Money Pit, is supposed to contain hidden wealth. According to folklore, in 1795, some young people believed to be 13 or 14 years old discovered a depression in the ground. They dug, believing it to be a man-made pit, and as they dug, they discovered layers of wood and other objects. They tried to continue their exploration, but were thwarted by a deluge of unknown origin that flooded the pit. Following the rapid dissemination of news about these discoveries, a flurry of international treasure hunters descended upon Oak Island in search of the hidden wealth. The first planned excavation of the money pit took place in 1803 under the leadership of a group of investors known as the Enlow Company. They were given their own money pit, but the excavations had to be terminated because their attempts to descend to the pit's floor were unsuccessful. The following century saw various groups trying to solve the island's riddles, but due to the enormous difficulties they encountered, none were successful. The most significant of these difficulties was the flooding of the hole, making further excavation unsafe and challenging. Additionally, the pit was wired with a number of devices that, when activated, would cause it to fill with water, preventing anyone from discovering the treasure. Despite these barriers, the excavations persisted, and the Oak Island Treasure Company was founded in 1861. The flooding prevented this specific squad's attempts from progressing past a depth of 90 feet as a result of the Oak Island Treasure Company's bankruptcy in 1909. The excavations were abruptly ended. Since then, numerous teams have tried to locate the riches hidden on Oak Island, but the enigma of the money pit remains a mystery. The discovery of the money pit and the initial excavations had a significant impact on the evolution of the island's history and the ongoing search for treasure. Even with the challenges and roadblocks encountered, this remains true, despite the various obstacles and disappointments that have emerged in the centuries-long search for riches on Oak Island. The mystery surrounding the location continues to fascinate people. The quest to unravel the mystery has recently been taken on by new entities. In 2010, the Oak Island Tourism Society was founded to preserve the island's history and encourage tourism. The most notable change in recent years, the Oak Island Archaeological Society has played an important role in raising public awareness of Oak Island and the treasure hunt, actively participating in several archaeological digs on the island. Get on the mailing list right away to learn about fresh information and surprising findings about Oak Island. The Laganina brothers will probably receive the lion's share of the treasure. First of all, their ongoing search of Oak Island is authorized by the Treasure Trove license, which allows licensed treasure hunters to legally keep 90% of any wealth they uncover, according to government regulations. Marty suggests that if a sizable treasure were found on Oak Island, multiple claimants would likely surface, arguing that they had a right to its contents. These claimants may rely on elements such as their residence, ancestry, or other factors to support their claims. Undoubtedly, many people will try to get their hands on at least some of the fabled riches, but it is impossible to say who, if anyone, will be successful. The Laganina brothers and the government would both have legitimate claims to at least some share of the treasure, making them the obvious choices as at least two of the recipients. However, it is impossible to predict if such a situation would ever arise. The team of researchers in the Curse of Oak Island is shocked by a stunning revelation. For additional information, watch the video after this. 1. In episode 4 of season 11 of the Curse of Oak Island, the group drills further in an attempt to locate the treasure. The Oak Island team continued their quest near the money pit, investigating a misplaced tunnel. Their latest discoveries raised questions about whether they would finally identify the lost treasure or require further attempts. Utilizing contemporary technologies, the crew resumed their work with additional sources for consultation. As they progressed, Alex declared the drilling operation at D5, noting that the tunnel might contain significant metallic substances. Examination of its contents suggested a western orientation toward the baby blob. After making a series of incisions and drilling 53 feet into the target, the apparatus extracted an enigmatic discovery encased in damp, soft, subterranean soil. Prior research indicated that this type of soil typically signifies proximity to a tunnel. Meanwhile, a team member convened a meeting in the war room with a Duma Contracting Limited representative to discuss recent developments. The company's new information prompted the team to resume their work after suspending a task. Eventually, drilling and excavation regulations were sanctioned by Nova Scotia's Ministry of Labor, allowing Duma Construction to deepen the garden shaft. With confirmation in place, the team accelerated their observation and analysis of key marked areas before major operations. Metal detector specialists Gary Drayton and Peter Fornetti investigated the shoreline of Lot 5, searching for iron, historical artifacts, and other treasures. They flagged potential regions and identified a site where ships once rested. Surprisingly, additional indications of past activities surfaced. Since Oak Island's treasure has drawn exploration and public interest since its discovery in 1795, it's possible that clandestine activities such as the burying of lead, barter tokens, 2,000-year-old Roman coins, and Smith Cove's lead cross are linked to past events. A granite slab erected at the center of Lot 5 appeared to enclose something beneath the surface. Additionally, near the shoreline, a circular depression from the late 1600s resembled the garden shaft. Upon investigating the flagged regions, the metal detectors confirmed the presence of metal beneath the ground. Excavation uncovered a cribbing spike, a key component in Oak Island's construction. Another location yielded the handle of a snipping instrument, reminiscent of the 1970 discovery of hand-forged Spanish iron scissors by Dan Blankenship. Both artifacts were carefully bagged. Approximately 50 feet from the shore, archaeologists excavated a rectangular depression associated with the garden shaft. Helen noted its rarity, marking her first time addressing such a feature in her career. The foundation's deep burial suggested an intentional effort to conceal it. Jack assisted in sifting through the excavated soil while drilling continued. 100 feet into the Money Pit region, a pivotal revelation emerged in D5N27, where evidence suggested the presence of an additional structure extending eastward. The newly discovered tunnels would appear more robust and closer to the surface than initially anticipated. At 101 to 95 feet into the drilling process, the machine extracted a large mass of moist soil containing scattered materials and wood, confirming a second tunnel east of the garden shaft. The team would have made further discoveries, but their time had run out. The Duma Contracting and Irving Contracting Limited teams then stepped in with heavy machinery, including 100-ton cranes and a 3-ton hammer grab tool. While the companies began assembly, Alex and his team explored a new borehole east of the garden shaft, designated C5N27, to investigate the recently discovered tunnel estimated to be 7.5 feet in diameter and over 100 feet deep. The new drilling operation aimed to construct a robust conduit beneath the garden shaft. Due to time constraints and safety measures, certain areas were off-limits for observation and analysis while construction progressed. Some team members hoped to examine recently unearthed artifacts at Oak Island's Interpretive Center. Blacksmithing expert Carmen Legg confirmed that a snipping implement was indeed